Joys and pains of street animals. Observing the journey of a street animal will lead you to delve deeper into how humans behave with animals, how animals are more in sync with nature than we are, and how in living being can coexist with different organisms. This experience can foster compassion towards animals and their ways of living. Volunteering in rural communities. Engage in volunteer work in rural areas to observe and appreciate the simplicity and resilience of rural life. This hands on experience can instill deep compassion for those living near the earth and a life with minimal resources. Mindful meditation at spiritual sites. Visit spiritual sites such as Varanasi, Bodh Gaya, and Amritsar. Engage in mindful meditation to observe the spiritual practices of others and deepen your connection with the essence of compassion. Observing humans becoming more helpful, accepting, and grateful in spiritual places is a practice that can be imbued in daily living. In the vibrant tapestry of India, where diversity and contrasts intertwine, observation emerges as a profound pathway to compassion. In a land where traditions, cultures, and communities coexist, immersing ourselves in this subcontinent's diverse landscapes and traditions, we open our hearts to a profound understanding of humanity, which paves the way to experience the world as one big family. DM for Life, an article by Trishna Gulrajani. Give it back. Poet, songwriter, educationist, artist, philosopher, social reformer. These are just some of the brilliant aspects of Rabindranath Tagore, 1861 1941, one of Bharat's greatest cultural icons. This Nobel Prize winner wrote our beloved national anthem and has largely been responsible for reshaping modern Indian thought. Fearless in outlook and creative in thought, Tagore promoted universal values and moral courage, a true inspiration across fields which works are whose works are celebrated as much today as ever before. While he wrote many letters in his time, there was one that truly defined his spirit of patriotism, written by him on 31st May 1919 to the Viceroy Lord Chelmsford. In it, he declared that he was giving back his British knighthood in protest against the cruel and heartless Jallianwala Bagh massacre at Amritsar, Punjab. The enormity of the measures taken by the government in the Punjab for quelling some local disturbances has, with a rude shock, revealed to our minds the helplessness of our position as British subjects in India. Knowing that our appeals have been in vain and that the passion of vengeance is blinding the nobler vision of statesmanship in our government, which could so easily afford to be magnanimous as befitting its physical strength and moral tradition. The very least that I can do for my country is to take all consequences upon myself in giving voice to the protest of the millions of my countrymen, surprised into a dumb anguish of terror. The time has come when badges of honor make our shame glaring in the incongruous context of humiliation, and I, for my part, wish to stand shorn of all special distinctions by the side of those of my countrymen who, for their so called insignificance, are liable to suffer degradation not fit for human beings. These are the reasons which have painfully compelled me to ask Your Excellency, with due reference and regret, to relieve me of my title of knighthood, which I had the honor to accept from His Majesty the King at the hands of your predecessor, for whose nobleness of heart I will entertain great admiration. There is absolutely no room for ambiguity here. Tagore gave back not just his title, but also a piece of his mind. He may have earned the respect and appreciation of the British, but that didn't impress him. His mention of my country and my countrymen makes it very clear that he was not one to be swayed by titles and honors. He stood for truth and righteousness and proved it by rejecting knighthood and standing shoulder to shoulder with his fellow Indians when they were pained. The words he chose show his nobility and fineness without hiding his true feelings on the matter. There is so much to learn from this letter and so much to internalize about it too. To start with, how do I react when those around me face challenges? Do I continue doing what I was doing without blinking an eyelid? Or do I empathize with them and demonstrate my support and solidarity? Solidarity. Am I willing to sacrifice my own glory and honor to stand up for what I believe is right? Or do I feel each one should fight his or her own battle and keep me out of it? Do I have a vision and cause beyond me and mine? Do I know how to express my thoughts and opinions so that others are clear about where I stand? The answers to these questions would hopefully serve as an eye opener and catalyst for change. As the saying goes, if not me, then who? Tagore exemplified this spirit. Ram, the man of Treta Yuga, a Chinmay Udghosh CU publication. Lakshman, the brilliant brother. हितकर लक्ष्मण संयुत राम. 53rd episode. Name Ram, who was in the company of his benefactor Lakshman. 4 months of rain have followed the death of Vali. Sugriv is overjoyed at being reunited with his wife and his kingdom. He happily returns to Kishkinda and resumes his position as the king of the monkeys. Nature smiles as her beauty unfurls in all its glory. Flowers bloom as far as the eyes can see. The birds seek their mates. Beautiful ponds are filled with crystal clear water, adorned with delicate water lilies and lotuses. The sweet aroma of varied blossoms perfumes the air. All around, as Mother Nature rejoices, Sri Ram longs for his beloved Sita. He worries that the tender princess, who has never left his side even for an instant, will not survive long away from him. He yearns for the company of his beautiful wife in this season of love and romance. Behaving like a lone youth, he expresses his grief to his brother Lakshman, who gently consoles him by reminding him of his glorious stature, recounting all his virtues and the great lineage of kings who are his predecessors. He urges Ram to focus his thoughts on rescuing Sita from the clutches of the evil Ravan and not get lost in the sea of emotions. Moved by his powerful words, Sri Ram regains his composure and asks Lakshman to go and remind the distracted Sugriv of his promise. On reaching Kishkinda, Lakshman is enraged by the sight of Sugriv, reveling in pleasure. The monkeys scramble to the highest branches of the trees when they see the prince's fury. Lakshman's show of anger brings Sugriv back to his senses. He quickly gathers all his troops and proceeds to the abode of Lord Ram, where he begs for forgiveness. Thus, Lakshman stimulates the resumption of the search for Sita. Whenever Sri Ram gets demoralized, it is Lakshman who reasons with him and encourages him. Owing to his dispassionate nature, he is always able to remain objective and become the voice of reason in chaotic situations. If identification is the measure of love, Lakshman's love is complete, as his sacrifice testifies. He idolizes Sri Ram completely, renouncing his own family life to follow him into the forest. In the forest, he serves him, always being there like a shield. Lakshman can be compared to the pole on which Ram as a flag flies. Hitakara Lakshmana Sanyuta Ram. Ram, who was in the company of his benefactor Lakshman, name 53. Real Vedanta by Saloni Jain, an article by Saloni Jain, Dashavtar. It's a rare phenomenon nowadays to find a movie that keeps one seated in a state of meditative silence, thinking of the feelings and learnings the movie has left us with. This is what I experienced after watching the movie Dashavtar, and maybe this is one of the reasons behind a regional Marathi movie becoming a pan India super hit. The 155-minute movie is set in Konkan, the quaint area of coastal Maharashtra. It revolves around a simple, nature loving veteran, the Savtal performer Babuli Mistri, and his relationship with his son Madhav. The Savtar is a popular traditional folk theatre with a history of 800 years, performed in areas of Konkan, Maharashtra, and North Goa. It is typically performed at midnight during temple festivals events. The performers use bright costumes and heavy makeup to depict the characters and perform with minimal props and impromptu dialogues. The play is typically divided into two parts: Purvaranga, the initial session, that is the preliminary presentation that precedes the main performance, and the Uttaranga, the latter session or the main performance. The term Dashavatar means the 10 avatars or incarnations of Lord Vishnu, namely Matsya, fish, Kurma, tortoise, Varaha, boar, Narsimha, lion man, Vaman, dwarf, Parshuram, Ram, Krishna, Buddha, and Kalki. The performers depict various characters, including Lord Ganesh, Goddess Saraswati, Lord Vishnu, and any one of the incarnations of Lord Vishnu. The movie. Based on the Konkan region of Maharashtra, the movie is about veteran Dashavatari Babuli Mistri, who has dedicated his entire life to preserving the traditional from form theater form of Dashavatar. Despite advancing age and failing eyesight, he stubbornly continues to perform, earning both ridicule and affection from the villagers, who call him half mad. His son Madhav worries about his health and urges him to retire, but Babuli promises to step away once Madhav secures stable employment. When Madhav finally gets a job, Babuli agrees to deliver one last performance on the night of Mahashivratri. However, as fate would have it, that night blurs the line between acting and reality. Therein begins Babuli's fight for justice, for himself, and more importantly, for the environment and culture. The movie is seamlessly structured like a traditional Dashavatar play. The narrative begins with a Purvaranga that introduces the viewers to the village culture, the father son relationship, the intertwinement of nature with human life, and the beautiful, colorful Dashavatar theatre. Gradually, the movie builds into the Uttaranga, where myth and present day conflicts intertwine. The movie ends on a beautiful note of communal harmony and long term solutions to man's eternal greed. What I found striking: 1. The movie is a visual spectacle, superb direction, lighting, camera, angles, perspective, time usage of the drone, background music, perfect costumes, etc. It is such a joy to see our regional cinema reach this level. 2. Simple, heart touching, and yet strong, with a takeaway for the viewers. The story keeps the viewer glued to their seat, and time passes flawlessly, especially the first half. The way the story covers the relationship of the main character Babuli with his dedication to the Dashavatar theatre, his son Madhav, his simple village friends, and not just humans but with God, nature, insects, and animals too, is heartwarming. There is always that ace of cards that makes the winner. In this case, it is the 81-year-old actor Dilip Prabhavalkar. His acting, voice modulation, facial expressions, body language, everything is simply perfect. He is present in almost 90% of the scene time. I wonder how he must have preserved and built up energy for such intense acting. Language always adds a flavor to the movie that no other element can. The director has smartly and correctly maintained the Marathi dialect spoken in the Konkan. This gives the viewer the feel of the location and environment and takes the movie to a different level. Of course, the movie has English subtitles to reach a wider audience. The movie leaves you with food for thought. It is not mere entertainment. However, there are two things the director could have done better. The second half of the movie drags a little, some unnecessarily lengthy and repetitive scenes, and one or two songs could have been excluded to make the movie crisp. The interaction between the main actor and the police investigator could have been portrayed better. Nevertheless, this is a movie not to be missed. A regional movie that transcends borders. Do watch. In each area number is equal to the number of fields and the area must be entered in exactly one field. Each number may appear once in each. Number must not orthogonally adjacent. Digital exhaust. Personalization versus privacy. What's up? An article by a column by Pankaj Lohiya. Every time we open an app, like a social media post, order food, or check the weather, we leave something behind, not money or message, but data. This unnoticed trail of information is called digital exhaust. It is created simply by using our phones in everyday life. We rarely think about it, but apps are constantly observing our behavior. They notice what we search for, how long we watch a video, what we scroll past, and even the time of day we are most active. Over time, these small actions come together to form a digital shadow that reflects our habits, interests, and routines. This data helps apps feel personal. Music platforms suggest songs we enjoy. Shopping apps recommend useful products, and social media shows content that keeps us engaged. While this personalization makes technology convenient and enjoyable, it also raises questions about privacy. The same ideal data that improves our experience is also being stored, analyzed, and sometimes used in ways we do not fully understand. One important concern is how long this data lasts. We may forget an old search or a random click, but the system often remembers even as we grow and change. Our digital shadow may stay the same. Digital exhaust is mostly invisible, which makes it easy to ignore. By becoming aware of it, we can use technology more responsibly and learn to value both convenience and privacy in the digital world. शङ्कर उवाच किमिह शौचं भवेत् ऋणं नृणाम् what Kim creates Bhavet, the sense of deficiency or lowliness, Ashaucham, the state of being in debt, Runam Runam. So, what creates the sense of deficiency or lowliness? The state of being in debt creates the sense of deficiency or lowliness. Wise nuggets. दीनेषु आर्तेषु भीतेषु याचमानेषु जीवितम् प्रतिकारपरा बुद्धिः कारुण्यम् अभिधीयते अध्यात्मकल्पद्रुमः. Compassion is the state of mind that acts earnestly to remove the distress of the weak, the diseased, the fearful, and those living the life of begging. Sundaram Verma is a pioneering farmer from Danta village in Shikar district, Rajasthan, renowned for developing a groundbreaking 1 liter water technique that enables saplings to grow in arid zones with minimal irrigation. Over the last 3 decades, he has planted more than 60,000 trees, conserving hundreds of thousands of liters of water and transforming barren landscapes into green cover. Apart from his farming experiments since 1985 and afforestation, he has preserved over 700 native seed varieties across 15 major dry zone crops. He also promotes organic, water efficient agriculture while mentoring farmers, scholars, and institutions nationwide. Where the mind ends, truth begins. Hari Om. Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Hari Om. We continue in next video.